You know, this time of year, fireworks are top of mind when it comes to the dangers of things catching fire. The foothills, a home, a car. We know of two car fires just this week in the Treasure Valley already. The latest coming to a tragic conclusion last night after a woman lost control and crashed her car on the Boise bench. The car caught fire, and while she and her passenger were still inside, witnesses were able to pull the man out of the car, but they couldn't get the woman out until Boise Fire showed up and put out the fire. She ended up dying at the hospital, sadly. The passenger is still there in critical condition. National Fire Protection Association estimates nearly 300,000 vehicles catch fire each year in the United States. It's about 33 cars every hour. The fire can come from an oil leak, electrical short, or even just poor maintenance. Well, one man in Kuna has seen his fair share of those, stepping in to save 4 drivers from car fires in just 5 years. And he isn't burnt out just yet. Hunter Funk shares what makes him a perfect match for drivers needing help.
5 years ago,
I was heading through the mountains and I saw a Buick on the side of the road and I saw smoke coming out of it.
a small extinguisher wasn't able to put out the car fire.
I hit the dirt and locked up the brakes and jumped out of my truck.
But from that moment on, it ignited Michael Van Vechten's drive to step in when things get hot.
It was something that bothered me that I didn't do it, you know, as silly as that is. And I just always had one in my vehicle from then, and you know, on a couple of different occasions, I just saw people pulling over because their vehicle was smoking.
Van Veghten says he now carries a large 5-pound extinguisher in every vehicle. He's helped a college student with a fire under the hood.
After we get it out, he looks at me and says, "Man, all my laptop and everything, all my stuff in here that I couldn't have replaced, you know, thank you."
And last week, his most recent save. A woman driving a pilot truck had an oil leak that caught fire as she was driving down the interstate.
I jumped out of my truck and grabbed my fire extinguisher and pulled the pin and ran over there. Because we were there with fire extinguishers and, you know, it was just an oil leak. And the fire got put out and there was no significant damage to the vehicle and, you know, that truck and all that equipment, and goodness knows how much it's all worth. It all got saved.
Kuna Fire Chief TJ Lawrence says he hopes more people are like Van Veghten because it can help prevent a lot of damage.
It just adds another safety factor, whether it's your own vehicle or you come across another vehicle that is beginning to catch on fire, or a small grass fire that was caused by a vehicle parking on dry grasses. It just gives you an opportunity to help with your extinguisher. And you might get that fire extinguished before the fire department even gets there and save property. And it's just a fantastic idea.
Chief Lawrence says no matter what, call 911 in any fire situation first. Then, if the fire is in the beginning stages, an extinguisher works great. But if that fire gets too large, do not risk it. Lawrence says if you ever need to use an extinguisher, remember this acronym.
It's called PASS, P-A-S-S. You pull the pin, you aim low, you squeeze the handle, and then you sweep at the base of the fire.
After a hot streak of helping people, Van Veghten hopes it'll spark the desire for others to step in and do the same.
I've had a lot of people help me in my day, and you know, a lot of people be there for me when they owed me nothing. So what is it a big deal to put a $30, $35 fire extinguisher in my truck and be able to help somebody out when I get an opportunity?
Now, it is important to note, the chief says, to get your fire extinguisher inspected every year and take time to learn how to use one so you're more prepared before you step in.
Okay, so he carries like a 5-pound fire extinguisher, which seems pretty large. You don't need something that size, do you?
Not necessarily. He says it's more effective, right, if it's a bigger fire, and it can help cool it off. But no, about a 2-pound one, and you can find dozens and dozens online, too, for $30 to $35.
Okay, that's awesome. All right, so just kind of look for the one that fits you and your car best.
Yeah, another big note, too, I'm going to add, make sure it's clipped into the car. The fire chief was like, you don't want that being thrown around in your car and becoming an object that could hurt you. So.
Or tough to get to because it's stuck under the seat.
Exactly.
All right, thanks, Hunter.